Former Trump fixer Michael Cohen testified before Congress this week, looking for redemption, but getting pushbacks from Republicans.
The latest summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un came to an unexpected end. More coming up.
Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner met with Saudi Arabia Crown Prince for more cooperation.
Rain is heading our way. Will it mess up our weekend plans? Find out more in weather.
Welcome to this week's edition of Newscene. I'm Yakira Delgadillo.
I'm Jesus Lopez, and Newscene starts now.
Michael Cohen is under fire after testifying before Congress. With more on the case, here's Jeff Villegas.
Yes, once again, Michael Cohen was at the center of attention in Washington Wednesday as he testified publicly about the decade he spent working for Donald Trump. The former personal lawyer and fixer for the president called Trump a racist, a con man, and a cheat before the House Oversight Committee in a theatrical display that lasted over 7 hours. You might remember back in November 2018 when Cohen pled guilty for lying to Congress. Cohen previously denied Trump was pursuing a Moscow real estate project at the same time he was securing the GOP nomination in 2016. As a part of a plea deal, Cohen also admitted to multiple federal crimes, receiving a sentence of 3 years in federal prison. Now fast forward to February 2019, and Michael Cohen is once again giving testimony before Congress. But this time, he's on a mission for redemption. Both sides of the aisle took turns grandstanding and inquiring about Cohen's experience under Trump. The Democrats focused their questions on the Trump administration, while the GOP focused on the integrity of Cohen, who is a convicted felon, and his testimony.
When you call Donald Trump a cheat in your opening testimony, what would you call yourself?
A fool.
To your knowledge, did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company?
Yes.
Who else knows that the president did this?
Alan Weisselberg, Ron Lieberman, and Matthew Calamari.
And where would the committee find more information on this? Do you think we need to review his financial statements and his tax returns in order to compare them?
Yes, and you'd find it at the Trump org.
Thank you very much.
He just debated a member of Congress saying, I really didn't do anything wrong with the false bank things that I'm guilty of and going to prison for.
Mr. Jordan, that's not what I said.
Will you today to commit to donate any further proceeds to book deals, to film reviews, to charity?
No.
Right in front of this committee, you conflicted your testimony, sir. You're a pathological liar. You don't know truth from falsehood.
Sir, I'm sorry. Are you referring to me or the president?
Hey, this is my time.
About Mr. Trump.
How many times did Mr. Trump ask you to threaten an individual or entity on his behalf?
Quite a few times.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
Probably.
What do you
Cohen's hearings on Wednesday and Thursday suggest that this is only the beginning of exposing Trump's potential criminal activity. Back to you guys. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties, but this is what happens.
Thank you, Jeff, for that report, and we do apologize about those technical difficulties. An ally of the president appeared to threaten former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. That night before he was to testify on Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz posted a threatening tweet that made legal experts consider to be witness tampering. In the tweet, Matt Gaetz wrote, quote, "Hey, Michael Cohen, do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. I wonder if she'll remain faithful when you're in prison. She's about to learn a lot." When CNN reporter asked him if his tweet amounted to witness tampering, Gaetz brushed it off.
We already know that Michael Cohen lies to Congress. We already know that he lies to law enforcement. Now we're going to find out if he also lies to the people closest to him, and I think that'll tell a lot about his ability to tell the truth.
The Florida State Bar launched an investigation into the Republican congressman who is licensed to practice law in the state. The bar will decide whether to file charges against Gates after the investigation is complete.
Now with more news, the Vietnam summit between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ended abruptly without a deal. Trump says the problem is Kim's demand for the U.S. to lift all economic sanctions on North Korea. This stopped the two from creating a specific plan for denuclearization.
Actually had papers ready to be signed, but it just wasn't appropriate. I want to do it right. I'd much rather do it right than do it fast.
The topic of discussion was creating a liaison offices in both Washington and Pyongyang. The offices would be used as way for the two governments to communicate with each other. All of these issues remain unresolved, although both sides seemed adamant in wanting to reach a resolution. This was the second meeting of the two leaders. The first was in Singapore last year. There has been speculations that Kim is coming to Washington for a third summit, although Trump says he has not committed to anything.
Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner met with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on Tuesday, the first meeting since the death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The aim of the meeting was to increase cooperation between both nations and ease the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Khashoggi was killed in October 2018 in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul.
A princess from Saudi Arabia is the first female ambassador to the U.S. from the Middle Eastern Kingdom. Princess Rima bint Saud has replaced Prince Khalid bin Salman as the top Saudi diplomat in the U.S. The appointment brings hope of soothing over strained relations between the two allies after death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The princess advocates for women's rights in the Saudi kingdom and gender inclusion in sports to promote active lifestyles.
Pakistan and India are in the midst of a de-escalation, a war crisis to avoid war. 2 weeks after a suicide attack in Kashmir killed 40 Indian soldiers, India launched an airstrike on Kashmir training camp allegedly run by Pakistani terrorist group responsible for the attack. Pakistan shot down 2 Indian jet fighters and captured a pilot on Wednesday, while India shot down a Pakistani fighter jet in response. In gesture of peace, Pakistan is releasing the pilot and discussing the arrest of an alleged terrorist leader. The remains of a
local woman reported missing last month are found in Tijuana.
Find out the latest on the police investigation after the break.
The City College Night basketball team made the playoffs. Believe what? It's next.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
A Senor family is mourning after the body of a local woman is found in Tijuana. 32-year-old Fernanda Gonzalez was reported missing by her sister Erica in early February. Fernanda's husband appeared at a UCSD medical center with an unexplained gunshot wound 2 days after she was reported missing. An anonymous tip led her family to find Fernandez remains buried in her own backyard. The death is being investigated as a homicide. Mexican police say they have a suspect, but have not made any arrests.
The teardown of the President Donald Trump's border wall prototypes is underway in San Diego. 8 walls are being removed this week to make space for border barrier construction. The new project will cost $131 million and will be largely replacing a 14-mile-long secondary fence. The new fence is already under construction and will reach at least 30 feet high.
Immigrant children entering the U.S. without their parents say they have been sexually abused while in government custody. Documents released on Tuesday say there are more than 4,000 complaints reporting sexual abuse against migrant children, according to documents released on Tuesday. Florida Democratic Congressman Ted Deutsch talked about the documents during a House hearing discussing the administration's zero-tolerance policy that separates migrants and their families.
Together, these documents detail an environment of systemic sexual assaults by staff on unaccompanied children.
The documents also show the Justice Department receiving more than 1,300 complaints from 2014 to 2018.
And now with international news, Venezuela opposition leader has announced that he will begin his duties as president of that nation. The self-declared interim president Juan Guaidó said on social media that he will begin exercising his duties as president of Latin America country. Guaidó was in Colombia this week where he met with U.S. Vice President Mike Pence to discuss alleviating the crisis in Venezuela. Guaidó is stepping in for embattled President Nicolás Maduro.
Univision journalist and anchor Jorge Ramos has been released following a brief detainment in Venezuela. It all started when Ramos interviewed Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro and asked if he was acting as president or as a dictator. This after Ramos met with citizens of Venezuela who were eating out of a trash truck because they were hungry. They told Ramos Maduro was the reason they were going hungry and they need a new president. Venezuela authorities took cell phone and video cameras with the interview after the detainment. The Univision crew was ordered to leave Venezuela immediately the next morning, and authorities stayed at their hotel to make sure they left.
Drag queens from Texas are protesting the continued construction of the border wall between the U.S. and Mexico. Performers hosted a no border wall drag protest in Brownsville, Texas public park. The queens want to use art to contrast negative messages implied by the wall and bring attention to discrimination faced by LGBTQ asylum seekers. Congress passed a spending bill for $1.375 million in early February to go towards construction of the wall in the Rio Grande Valley area in South Texas.
A Texas resident celebrated his 100th birthday in style and resilience. Ernie LaCroix jogged in the 5K of the annual Cowtown Marathon. LaCroix turned 100 last Friday, and fellow runners sang him happy birthday. Ernie raced in the event 20 times, and it is quite a feat. He could do it another year.
I can't. I'm not even 100. I can't even run a 5K without stopping and breathing and taking water breaks.
I can't even do the same.
Now from basketball, right here at City College.
We have at City College 2 huge baseball contracts across the country. Here's Heriberto with sports.
Thank you, guys. The City College men's basketball season has come to a close. After making it to the playoffs for the 6th consecutive time, the Nets fell to the tough Santa Monica College team on Wednesday night. The nail-biter was decided by the free throw made by the Coasters in the final 10 of a second of the game. Ultimately, the Knights will fall 75-74 to Santa Monica in the first round of the Southern California Regional. The Knights' postseason berth is especially impressive considering all of the young players of the Knights roster were able to keep up this streak. For baseball fans, the wait is finally over. Bryce Harper has made his decision. The Phillies have landed the 26-year 26-year-old All-Star for a whopping $300 million for 13 years. The final three teams in the running were the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Giants. It was reported Harper wanted either a similar or a better contract than Manny Machado got from the Padres last week. That was $300 million for the 10 years. Harper now was the largest contract in the MLB, but there's more sacrifice with that. He has no options and a full no-trade clause. In other words, he's not going anywhere. Speaking of baseball players getting signed, there has been another huge contract in the MLB. This time, it's for the one and the best third baseman in the game, Nolan Arenado, who has received an 8-year extension from the Colorado Rockies. The deal is worth $260 million, which will give them the highest annual salary of the position player in the league. Arenado, who has been with the Rockies since entering the league 6 years ago, is a 4-time All-Star. Rockies have made the playoffs for the past 2 seasons. And now, moving on to soccer, El Clásico, which matches Real Madrid against FC Barcelona, was played on Wednesday with Real Madrid losing in its own city 3-0. The first goal came in the 50th minute with a strike to the bottom left corner by Luis Suarez, giving no chance for the goalkeeper to react. 19 minutes later, Real Madrid commits its own goal after a dangerous cross by Dembélé, giving Barcelona the lead by 2 goals. The final goal came on a clear foul on Luis Suarez with the 73rd minute, leading Los Blancos out of the final Copa del Rey. Moving on in Premier Leagues, amazing matches were played this week. Chelsea faced off against Tottenham Hotspurs, where Pedro opens the scoring of the 57th minute over the lead on the Spurs. A lack of communication with the goalkeeper in the 84th minute led the own goal by the English defender Kieran Trippier with the win. Chelsea earned 3 points in the Premier League standings. Fulham, the Premier League soccer team, has a new caretaker manager after firing a former champion, Claudio Ranieri, who led Leicester City to the Premier League Championship in 2016. Was with Fulham for just 4 months. Fulham has given up the most goals with 63 in the Premier League play, making them the worst in the division. Let's see if the caretaker manager, Scott Parker, can turn on the defense around the next phase on the match versus Chelsea. That's all I have for you on sports. Back to you on the desk.
Thank you, Heriberto, for that report. I don't know, Madrid or Barcelona?
Well, I don't know. Let the best men win.
I know, you kind of matched the tie a little
right?
bit. I'm Barca.
Well, let them win.
Let them win. For more on the Oscar duos who might have sold the night, stay tuned for entertainment.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
The North Carolina election official of the Center of an Election Fraud is in scandal and is out of jail. Leslie McClare Downless was indicted Wednesday on charges in connection with voter fraud during a November mid-election. Downless is accused of leading an operation to steal absentee ballots and change votes in favor of Republican Mark Harris. Harris led after Election Day, but the state board overturned the election results and voted to hold new elections. Harris is withdrawn from the new elections, citing health problems.
Now, back home, Pacific Gas and Electric says it is probable its equipment started California's deadliest wildfire. The news follows the utility's recent $50 billion federal bankruptcy filing. It is estimated PG&E has $30 billion in liabilities just from the November wildfire alone. The Camp Fire devastated Butte County, destroying 18,800 buildings and killing 85 people.
The County of San Diego wants to keep you informed in an event of an emergency. The Board of Supervisors is supporting a state bill that would mandate counties to notify their communities about health emergencies. In 2017, the San Diego region was exposed to hepatitis A epidemic. A lack of communication between the city and the county led public health officials to respond slowly to the crisis. If the bill passes, Health and Human Resources will have the ability to quickly inform people and contain potential disease outbreaks.
Now you have to pay attention to this story before you even take a picture if you're doing a good deed. A man that went out of his way to keep a group of Girl Scouts out of the rain catches himself behind bars. Dietrich McGowan was arrested Tuesday morning by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, or DEA, accused of conspiracy to manufacture, distribute heroin and cocaine and fentanyl. According to the local DEA, McGowan was taken into custody at his residence, where cash and other assets were seized by the U.S. Marshals. Maybe some Girl Scout cookies as well.
A San Diego native won an Oscar for Best Short Documentary Film. Melissa Burton, along with director, won an Oscar for their production, Period, An End of a Sentence. The short highlights the pet protection and nonprofit organization that focuses on advancing women's and girls' health care around the world. Her film focuses on women in rural India who make part of a low-cost sanitary pads on a new machine and fights the diminishing stigma of menstruation. You can now stream the short film and other Oscar-nominated films on Netflix.
Don't have any weekends plans? Well, we do have the Cross Festival, Cross without the O. Spring is returning to San Diego's waterfront park this weekend. The sold-out two-day event will showcase electronic dance music on 3 stages. House and techno artists like Odessa, Lane 8, and Phantom Graham, Justin Martin, May Trick, Armand Van Halden, maybe I just butchered that name, but Armand will be there, are set to perform. 15,000 people are expected to attend. Crossfest is in its 5th year. Tickets are still available to see artists perform at official after parties in clubs around downtown and Little Italy like Bang Bang, Spin Nightclub, Music Box, and the Hard Rock. Maybe you want to stay out of the rain and go to those after parties.
And did duo Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga sing their way to a golden statue?
For more on the stars that were born that night, Jade has the latest in entertainment.
Thanks. This year's Oscar season has been full of controversy, all the way to the final award. Green Book won Best Picture despite criticism, with Bohemian Rhapsody winning 4 of the 5 nominations, while the Netflix drama Roma won 3 awards. Spider-Man with Spider-Verse won Best Animation, edging out Pixar's Incredibles 2. Grammy-winning Lady Gaga took home an Oscar from The Shallow, the emotional song from A Star Is Born. The breathtaking performance of Gaga and Bradley Cooper had Oscar viewers wondering if the newly single Gaga is romantically involved with her former co-star. But Gaga was quick to kill those rumors on social media. The artist may be featured in the future. And on to better news, we're going to have Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is releasing a new album, and her fans are eagerly anticipating something exciting. Swift is hyping up the release by posting several photos on her Instagram page, including an image of her from the magazine LUK. Swift will be on the cover of the April issue. She talks about the magazine, about putting her heart and soul into the album. The singer says she doesn't want her music to be generic music. Many wonder if the album will be about her past relationships. We will just have to wait and see. And that will be back to the desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Jade, for that report.
Mardi Gras events kick off this weekend around San Diego, heading into Fat Tuesday on March 5th. I think I'll be heading towards Fat Tuesday and celebrating. The Gaslamp Mardi Gras party takes place on Friday, Saturday, and Fat Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Wow, you have 6 hours of partying or even
Oh,
more.
downtown San Diego.
With tickets starting at $25. You have some $25 to let me so I can go to the party?
It's a Mardi Gras. Why not? It's a Fat Tuesday.
Right. Well, now we're going to talk about what's going to happen this weekend, right?
After the break.
Yeah.
After the break. Get all that after the break. The weather. Thank you.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Okay.
When would the rain be in our own backyard? Here's Sara Machuco.
Hi, thank you. I am Sarah Machuca. I hope, hi everybody, San Diego. I hope you are having a great Friday. Okay, so we have San Diego is 64 degrees. Apparently we're gonna have the winter weather. It's affecting the whole country. We can see here Boston and New York and Pennsylvania with a winter warnings. We're gonna see here in Chicago with 33 degrees. Up north here in Bismarck, 17 degrees, and Minneapolis with a 17 degrees. The only place that it looks like it's gonna be warmer, it's gonna be here in Miami with 80 degrees. Okay, so we have a winter warning like across this area over here. It's Wichita. Moving into Los Angeles, San Diego, we have a system that it's coming, so it's going to affect the areas of Central Valley and heavy snow in the areas of okay, so here is Chula Vista with 62 degrees, San Diego 64 degrees, Del Mar 62 degrees, and Carlsbad with a 62 degrees. Oceanside, it's having the lowest temperature. If we move into the Escondido and Ramona Alpine in inlands, we have a 64 degrees, and moving into the Borrego, it's going to be the desert. It's going to be the highest temperatures. And now moving into the 8-day day forecast, it's going to rain on Saturday and Wednesday. Now back to the studio.
Thank you, Sara Machuca, for that weather report. And can you imagine smoking marijuana out of your sunglasses? Well, smoking shades are the world's first sunglasses with a built-in pipe. The sunglasses contain a storage compartment in one of the arms and a metal bowl in the other.
Wait, and it gets better. To use it, you put some of the bud, obviously, in the compartment and light it up and then take a hit. And that's all with our weather. And not really.
That's all the time that we have for this week's edition of Newscene. I'm Yakira Delgadillo.
And I'm Jesus Lopez. Have a beautiful night.
Until next week.